Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review. And since I'm doing this video on almost the anniversary of on July 8th, which is the anniversary of the Roswell crash, I figured to do a review of the 1994 movie Roswell. And if I have time, we'll maybe discuss other shows and programs that dealt with the Roswell incident. Well, like I said, the Roswell incident was reported on to the national media by radio. TV didn't become a mainstream medium until the next year, 1948. Well, like I said, the film Roswell stars Carmel McLaughlin, who was famous for being in Blue Velvet and Showgirls and the Sex and the City television show, and also Maureen Sheen in a small role. And it follows the story of Major Jesse Marcel, who was the intelligence officer in Roswell Army Air Force Base in 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico. And of course, he was an intelligence officer. He investigated this mysterious debris that apparently crashed on a local ranch. And he believed there was no doubt a UFO. And then after he reported, they brought back some of the debris, and the Army says it was not a UFO, but a weather balloon. And they covered the whole up, and they made Jesse Marcel Sr. the patsy on this thing, and cover the whole thing up. And so we all know it was a weather balloon. So you think because they're trying to make me look like a total complete idiot. They don't know a weather balloon from a UFO. We all know that it was not a weather balloon. We all know it was this, and there was a UFO crash. There's no way that this could be ours, because if it was ours, we would have. But if it was a weather balloon from the United States, we would have record on it. There's no record. There's no debris. You haven't made any weather balloon out of this material at all. So how can it be possibly a weather balloon? It has to be a UFO. And of course, everybody tries to convince them throughout the film, mostly in flashbacks. Because when it wasn't in flashbacks, it's supposed to be the 30th anniversary reunion of the 519 bomb group, which was stationed at the Roswell Army Air Force Base. And actually, they're all making fun of Jesse Marcel because they're calling him an idiot and a moron because he couldn't tell the difference between couldn't tell there was a weather balloon. And of course, they try to convince everybody that it wasn't, and there were groups of people who said yes, it was a UFO, but the Army decided to shut us all up. Because at that time, everybody kept quiet in those days, in 47, because you're talking about a different time than it is now. Nowadays, everybody's looking for that one snitch to come out and Edward Snowden to say something about it. Well, at that time, you had Jesse Marcel Sr., who was the Edward Snowden who came out with the story. But the problem was when Jesse Marcel Sr. came forward and said, hey, it was not a weather balloon, it was a flying saucer. It was 30 years after the fact, and he couldn't prove, he didn't have a piece of the debris, he had nothing, other than his word, to say what it was. And then you had the Air Force side, they said it was a weather balloon. Of course, you had skeptics of both sides of the argument throughout this film, and it's an hour and a half film, and it is based on a book called UFO Crash at Roswell. It was written by Kevin Randall and Don Schmidt, who did all kinds of research on it. I think to this day they're still doing research on it. And most recently we found out, like last August 2013, Jesse Marcel's son, Jesse Jr., I think he died of a heart attack in his house, I think it was. So he was really the last one to actually, it was still alive. who handled the wreckage. And throughout the film, you did have, from Jesse Marcel's point of view, trying to figure that, hey, he was doing an investigation on this thing. And people tried to, or at least the military, the people who helped with the cover-up, trying to stop him from divulging this and going forward on this thing. So it was an interesting film because I knew of the Roswell story. And I can explain how I knew about it. But as you know, the film was, well, I thought it was a very good film, and it's a movie of its. The time it was made was in the early '90s, when you have a lot of these conspiracy theory films. Because 3 years earlier you had the JFK movie, so this was like 3 years later. And of course, in the early '90s, you had a lot of these conspiracy theory type movies, and this does play out as a conspiracy theory film. It does have a lot of flashbacks. And Kyle MacLachlan does play, the younger Jesse Marcel Sr. and the older one. And of course, for all you fans of the Ghostbusters movies, he did have Peter McNichol, who was in the second Ghostbusters 2 in this film. And also, if you happen to be a fan of the television show Hunter, starring Fred Dwyer, Stephanie Kramer, you have Charles Holohan, who for about half the years that Hunter was on television, you had his character, Charles Holohan, who was on Hunter for a while, playing the captain there, and he makes an appearance in this film. So, but as and Greg Yoakum plays the rancher, Mac Brazel, who finds the debris on his land. But as a film itself, I thought it was a very, very good film, and it is on YouTube, so you can check it out. Those of you who haven't seen it. But since this is about the Roswell incident, I figured, what the hell, talk about the Roswell incident. Now I have time to have a brief review on the Roswell film. The first time I heard the Roswell story was in 1989. There was an old television show called Unsolved Mysteries. It was on NBC, hosted by Robert Stack, or the late great Robert Stack. And they did about like half the show. It was an hour show at the time, and they did about like at least half the show, maybe slightly more than like 35 minutes of the show, just on the Roswell incident. And it was really the first, or wasn't exactly the first show they did this. The first actual show was a show called In Search Of, hosted by Leonard Nimoy, for Star Trek fame. And he did an episode of his show called UFO Cover-Ups, and he did like 10 minutes of the half-hour show about Roswell. They didn't do a real full in-depth story until, of course, the Unsolved Mysteries show. I think that's what most people heard of it, was from the Unsolved Mysteries show episode when they had it. You can find that on YouTube, that particular story. It's titled, which is one of the few Unsolved Mystery story shows that's still on YouTube that hasn't been blocked yet. So hopefully, you can catch it before it does get blocked, because most Unsolved Mysteries videos have been blocked by the people who produced Unsolved Mysteries back in the day on NBC. It's called the Roswell Incident Is Real. So if you search for that and you watch it, plus they also the guy who put that up also has other stories as well from other UFO stories from Unsolved Mysteries. Plus, the Roswell one was the first story. Then you have other ones. But I think that was like the best and most famous story, and it took the longest time on Unsolved Mysteries telling that story. And of course, the reenactments. And of course, you have Robert Stack starting the story off actually on the Army base in Roswell, telling the story. And of course, you have the whole McGillis, we're talking about the whole cover-up story. And of course, Jesse Marcel was, of course, made out to be the patsy on this thing, because he went after he found the footage, or saw the records, he brought it home to his kid and to his wife. Jesse Jr. He held up the I-beam and said, "Look, there's hieroglyphics on this I-beam." And he said, "Oh, that's it. Interesting little discovery he made." Then what they did was they flew some of the wreckage to Fort Worth, and just before they did that, Colonel Blanchard, who was the commander of the Army, the base in Roswell, sent out a press release saying we found a UFO. And of course, Roger Ramey, like 6 hours later, General Roger Ramey, who was in control of the base in Fort Worth, which Jesse Marcel was sent to with some of the wreckage, he sent a second press release saying it was not a UFO, it was a flying saucer. So most people bought the weather balloon story in 1947. And so, what were skeptics then? That's because most people at that time believed the government and believed the military. Nowadays, you're going to have skeptics up the wazoo. Today, nowadays, because the media is so skeptical today. In that time, in 1947, they weren't as skeptical as they are today. So they didn't question it. And because I don't think very few people said, which story is the real one? Is it a UFO or is it? They said, oh, it really was. Now, how can you have one of your best investigators in airline crashes, which was Jesse Marcel? How come he, trying to say they're so stupid he couldn't tell the difference? And that's what the Army was saying. They were stupid. He was a cop, and he didn't know. He was so stupid. He didn't know the difference. Well, Jesse Marcel could tell the difference, and that's what they did in the story. And so, after that, you had so many other documentaries and so many other shows that came on after Unsolved Mysteries, or in the years after Unsolved Mysteries went off the air. Like I said, they had the movie in 1994. And then, of course, around that time, you had the Air Force finally. I think it was around the time that this Roswell movie came out that I mentioned already. They decided to give out a report, and the report they mentioned was there was these Mongol balloons, which was testing to see if the Soviet Union would detonate a nuclear weapon or a nuclear bomb. But the problem is that they didn't start the test. They didn't have the test around that time, so they had a secret thing on there, and they had all the use of different materials that could have been confused with a weather balloon. But the problem was that it was at the time of the Roswell, because there was actually two crashes. One that everybody knows about, the one that I have been talking about for the last 7 minutes. But it was also a second crash where there was a UFO craft intact that was found, and with 4 alien bodies in it, and one of them was still alive. Or allegedly was still alive. And there was 3 bodies that were dead, and one was still alive. And of course, the military cornered off the area and took everything. And of course, they started the whole thing as well. And then, of course, 3 years later, on the 50th or just before the 50th anniversary of this crash, Time Magazine ran a poll saying that more than half the people who were, polled, because you don't know the exact number of people who were polled in that, could be like 1,000 schnooks, or 1,000 UFO believers. Because do you believe in the UFO crash? And they said yes, we believe that it happened. So here comes the Air Force again to dispute what happened, and this time they're talking about the bodies that were found, and they're talking about this animal-formic dummies that they use to receive parachute from high altitudes. But the problem with that test is that it didn't happen until 1953, 6 years after the incident. So you know that they were BSing about it. And I do remember that news conference was on television. And the first question was from a lady reporter who says to the Air Force spokesman, and that's what it was. Now, how come it took the United States Air Force 50 years to tell us what it is? How come you picked, of all times, to come out with this story? how come we came out just before the 50th anniversary of this supposed crash? How come you all of a sudden you pick now? Being skeptical, so of course they picked now to do now on that particular time, 1997, to do it. On July 47 or 1997, to come out and mention this. And of course, the Air Force spokesman went, gave no answer. George Bush went, whatever. That was the attitude. Then, of course, you had all these other shows that appeared on the Sci-Fi Channel, in particular in 2000, in the early 2000s. Once again, you started bringing up other shows in the Roswell incident all over again, because they did a show called the UFO Roswell Crash: Drawing New Evidence, which is also on YouTube. You can check it out. It was hosted by Brian Gumbel, and they did a 2-hour show talking about, of course, what happened in the incident, and of course an archaeologist from the University of Arizona to check out, do a dig, and find out there were actually debris under the ground that wasn't picked up in the Army Corner. And of course, he tells a story. Some of the other witnesses and stories that came out about it. Well, I got a little bit ahead of myself because I forgot that in 1995, Fox Television showed a television special called Alien Autopsy Fact or Fiction, and it was ironically hosted by Jonathan Frakes from Star Trek Next Generation. And they showed a film, a Ray Santilli film, about an alien autopsy that happened in the Roswell Air Force Base in 1947, just as when the body was found during the Roswell crash. Well, apparently, in the almost 20 years since the special aired, word came out that the whole film was fake, or it was reenacted from an actual film, but the film was too degraded to show on television, so they did a reenactment of that film. But the rest of the documentary, and talking about particularly the witnesses' testimony when they're telling their stories, that stuff was real, but the film was fake. Like the 2002 special, they aired on the Sci-Fi Channel at that time. I thought it was quite good and trying to show what they went through to get an archaeology dig and try to prove scientifically that a crash did happen on this ranch site. And then of course at the time they didn't say, oh, the crash, it was proven it was undetermined. All the soil samples and everything else that they brought up, it was proven it was not proven conclusively one way or the other that it was undetermined. You couldn't prove it one way or the other if it was a crash, or it tried to disprove the military's side of the story. And then, of course, in 2005, at the time the Michael Jackson trial was starting, Peter Jennings did a 2-hour show on UFO phenomena called Seeing is Believing, which is also on YouTube. Which is surprising these shows weren't blocked yet. Again, and saying why in a minute. And during the show, it's trying to disprove all the UFO stories, and particularly Roswell, because that was like the key story. And they had, I think, about 11 minutes, almost 12 minutes of that show was devoted to the Roswell story. And Peter Jennings keeps saying, it's a myth, it's a myth, it's a myth, it's a myth. You know what the real myth is? Peter Jennings' journalistic career is a myth. Because they're trying to disprove the whole stupid thing. And then, of course, there are shows like the UFO Files. There's also shows like UFO Hunters. and they did a show. They did their own investigations of what happened in Roswell, and those shows were interesting too. The problem is that I have is that YouTube has been starting blocking these the UFO hunter shows. I don't know why these shows have been up for a few years already, but they hadn't been up for like 2 weeks, and they took them down. It's been up for like 2, 3, 4, in some cases even 5 years, and all of a sudden YouTube is trying to block these things. So I'm getting aggravated with that because I have liked every show in the UFO Hunters series. We have about like 37, 38 shows, and they start blocking it. So about every few weeks, it's I found a new. Somebody else posted a show, and then like 2 weeks later, it's blocked. I said, "Why the hell are they blocking these shows?" I mean, I'm getting so mad at the people on YouTube that's blocking this stuff. Because YouTube should be a free and open space where people can post television shows and all that stuff on YouTube. And as soon as somebody makes some type of a copyright claim, because the United States has tough copyright laws, they're blocking UFO hunters, and they're blocking unsolved mysteries, and they're blocking everything else. So people can't see these stories or these particular episodes. Well, my video is not going to get blocked because hopefully it doesn't get blocked because they don't have any. They're not showing anything that people could have a copyright law against. Just me sitting here talking. But I am getting annoyed at Facebook, not Facebook, but YouTube for blocking UFO hunters, but Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theory show, which I might or might not do a review on that. But I'm getting disgusted. They keep blocking these shows out, and they shouldn't do it. I feel that YouTube shouldn't do it. They should just give warnings and not remove these shows. But if you feel the shows were interesting and good enough, hey, and they do have a following, so I feel they shouldn't be taking them off. But in terms of, with Roswell itself, going back to the main point of this video with Roswell, I feel that Roswell is the grand day story of the whole ufology. And it's a shame, like I said, it's a shame that there's some videos that YouTube has blocked, and they shouldn't do it. And from the powers that be who run YouTube, and I plead with them right now, please remove the blocks from these shows. Because I'm getting disgusted that these shows, and like these videos, and I go back to my like videos to watch these shows again, but the thing is blocked, and then I have to spend time to find them, and it takes a lot of time. And I wrote down all the episodes on a list. I find the list on the computer, and I write down the list of the episodes, so I can go back and check this one off, check it off, and then a few weeks later, the episode's blocked. I mean, I'm getting disgusted with that this stuff is going on. Sorry for my little rant for the last couple of minutes, but I feel that it's important for me to to vent a little bit. But in terms of Roswell, I feel that people should know more about it. And of course, occasionally Larry King, when Larry King had a show on CNN, who would bring it to a show on. I have seen shows with Larry King on there. That's why those shows haven't been blocked yet. I'm sorry I'm bringing up the black thing again, but I am disgusted with all that stuff. Even I've gotten copyright notices. Not for these particular videos, but videos that I shot when I was at Brooklyn Cyclone game. Because the Brooklyn Cyclones, which is the best football team who plays out of Corleone, they have a dance team, dance cheerleading team called the Beach Bums. There's a bunch of girls, young ladies, they're teenagers. Some of them are like 18 or 19 years old, so they're overage according to the law. And they do a dance routine on the field. So I videotaped it. on my digital camera, and I took that video and I posted. I shot a couple of videos over the years of the games that I attended, and I put those videos up on YouTube. I figured, okay, big deal, right? I shot on my own video camera. I'm not taking, let's say, a videotape game and put it on YouTube. And I got a copyright notice. You figure, how's that a copyright notice? It's not from the team themselves or minor league baseball, but it's for the song that's playing in the background during their dance routine. I mean, you could barely hear it. I mean, you can hear it, but the audio wasn't that terrific. And I got copyright notices on that. But with Roswell, I think that's a story that most people, because of unsolved mysteries, because of UFO hunters, and the UFO Files shows on the History Network, the History Channel, plus on the Sci-Fi Channel with the Roswell crash, is going to be, and of course the alien autopsy film is going to more publicity. But I think it's dying down quite a bit, the publicity for Roswell. And because I think that most people, now it's like almost 70 years later almost. I think people mostly believe that now it's a weather balloon and not a UFO, which I think it really was a UFO, and not what the people are saying, because there's too many of those types of stories around with them covering other stuff up. Like the Manson Forest case, or the Kicksburg case. I mean, they cover, the military cover those things up that you wouldn't believe. And for us, really what the military says is, why can't they just come out and show people what it is? But no, the McJason, particularly in the Roswell incident, the McJason was sort of like a dope, which is a shame. And of course, all the skeptics are trying to disprove every little stupid little thing. In terms of Roswell, and with the Manson Forest incident, with the Kicksburg incident, you're always going to have somebody who believes in the other way. You're always going to have people who believe one way or the other and trying to stir the pot and argue what the real story was. Excuse me. And I know that's disgusting. What the hell is going on? That's either one, and people who are not talking, or the people who should prove one way or the other what it is, and that's the military. And I feel it's ridiculous to let this go on without actually physically proving it, and instead of having some spokesman say so. They should come out and say, hey, look, this is what happened, this is what it is, take it or leave it type thing. And unfortunately, that has not, to this day, that hasn't happened. Because most of the time you had some military spokesman saying, oh, this was a mogul balloon, so this was anamorphic dummies. And what happened? That's what the bodies that was going to use. I mean, the bodies were like 6 foot tall dummies, and meanwhile the so-called bodies were found that were like the stereotypical size of an alien. The big head with the eyes, and the almond-sized eyes, and this little stiff mouth and nose. And it doesn't look like the pictures of the dummies in the military shows. I mean, come on. I mean, how dumb does the military think? Well, Americans are pretty dumb. They elected Obama twice, so we don't know how intelligent Americans are. And they don't really make as much of a stink as they now as they did back in the mid-90s when everything was with the conspiracy stuff. Now the conspiracy stuff is taken out quite a bit. And I'm surprised that when Jesse Ventura had his conspiracy theory show, he doesn't talk about the Roswell case. He's talking about Area 51, or Area 51, but not the Roswell thing, because he doesn't believe in the little green guys. Sorry that I went a little bit of a tangent for the last few minutes. But I still feel that YouTube, and I'm pleading with YouTube at this point, please take off the blocks for unsolved mysteries, and UFO hunters and whatever shows that I have liked or favored. Please take all those blocks. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, YouTube is supposed to be a free, open site like Facebook is, and if you put out, let's say, news, I can understand if people put in like X-ray movies on YouTube. I can see putting blocks on there, but for a show that's not offensive, like the UFO hunters or unsolved mysteries, I'm talking about those shows. I can understand Disney Matilda show because those shows are controversial, but I feel those shows should be on because it should be like free speech here, folks. They should be. Please, I'm asking nicely. Please remove those blocks because it's ridiculous. It's aggravating to me because I have to go find those shows again and put them on my liked video list, and it's getting to be a pain in the butt because I have better things to do than to keep looking for all these videos that YouTube has blocked. I'm getting a little tired of it. I'm getting a little aggravated over it, and it's tiring. It is. It's really tiring. And instead of watching videos trying to relax and trying to watch videos on YouTube a lot, it's tiring that I have to put up with that nonsense. That I have to keep looking for videos that YouTube has blocked from another person who posted these videos. It is getting tiring. I'm getting, so you can tell I am getting aggravated over this stuff. But the main point is I am talking about Roswell, the Roswell incident, and I am doing this video the day before the 4th of July, so all you Americans, my fellow Americans out there, please have a happy and safe 4th of July. And I do hope you like this video of the Roswell incident and the Roswell movie. Please rate and click the video. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this or link this video onto your Facebook pages. Thanks for watching, and remember, YouTube, please take off the box already. It's ridiculous. Thanks for